Joining us now is Lora Cusumano, and we're going to be talking about homes and what a buyer's agent is. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me today, Donna.
So, what is an exclusive buyer's agent? What does that term mean?
Okay, well, there are buyer agents out there, and I think that most of the consumers are aware of them. But an exclusive buyer agent is it's actually a brokerage that does not take listings.
Oh,
And when a brokerage doesn't take listings, that means that they are 100% advocating for the home buyer, and there's never a conflict of interest.
lovely. So, when you're taking a potential buyer into a property, you're on their side. You're their like teammate. So, you're looking for the same things that you would want as if you're buying the house yourself.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of confusing out there. And I'm the president actually of the National Association of Exclusive Buyer Agents. And our mission is to advocate for the home buyer to make sure that they are protected and to also educate even people in the real estate industry just to know better about agency, what dual agency means, and to be represented in the real estate transaction. Think about it. It's the most important thing that you're either going to sell or you're going to buy. And you should have somebody fully representing you being a fiduciary.
When you're talking about that, you're saying, like whether, some things are negotiable, right? So when it comes down to it, they're like, oh, well, that chimney needs to be tuck pointed and this needs to be that and this needs to be that. So are you talking about that? Like when an appraisal comes back, helping the buyer now say, well, you know what? Maybe our offer should be adjusted a little, or what other types of things do you get involved in?
Yeah, so we're not home inspectors, but we are definitely more aware of different things in the home to point out to our buyers just to make sure that they're not going to maybe even make an offer on something that may not be financially possible for them to buy. Maybe,
Oh, okay.
people save up their money, they have enough of their down payment, their agent costs, the other closing costs,
Hmm.
and they may not be able to buy a house that needs a roof, a boiler. So by us pointing that out, they become educated and they make a smart decision when they're buying a home.
Which is lovely because once they get into it, you're right, and then they can't fix something, and then there's you need a little bit of like, I guess, like, I don't know, a little bit of money extra, not just for decorating or paint or something like that, but inevitably, right? There's going to be something that goes wrong with the house, right? You know, things in a house break down, whether it's year one, year two, year three. You hope you don't buy a complete lemon, and I guess that's what you're helping them avoid.
Yeah, I mean that's only part of it though. We do so much because we really do. We take the clients out, and the thing that makes us different, we are a professional service. We're not a salesperson. A listing
Okay.
agent, think of, they're selling the house. They want to get the highest and best price for that house, and they're representing the seller. We are actually working with the buyers. So when we go around and we look at homes with our clients, we're taking them out to see different properties, pointing out the pros and the cons on the property. We come up with a strategy. We do a lot of extra work, maybe going to building department to make sure there's all proper permits and stuff on the house. So that way the buyer can make an educated decision when they want to make an offer. And
Okay.
we're also expert negotiators too.
Okay. That's what I was
So
going to ask you.
you
Right.
want to have us on your team, plus everything that you tell us because we are a a fiduciary. We actually we protect both your personal and financial information.
Is someone paying you a flat fee or is it after they buy a home? How does that work? How does the connection work for you?
Yeah, so we usually get paid the same way as every other agent in the industry. We just had a big settlement in August. It was the NAR settlement. The real estate in the industry in general changed
Okay.
significantly, and it freaked out most of the real estate industry. However, exclusive buyer agents, we haven't changed anything. Our association, NABA.org, has been in existence now since 1990s. This is our 30th anniversary coming up. And we have always used a buyer agency agreement. We have always been fully transparent with working with the buying consumer. And that's what we're all about. To me, having this settlement is an eye opener and to the public to make everyone more aware of how to buy and sell a home.
Excellent. And this is nationwide because I know that you have a friend that's coming up next that's going to talk to us from California, right?
Yes, so Justin is another member with our National Association of Exclusive Buyer Agents, longtime member, and he is going to talk as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura, for joining us, and thank you for this introduction. And up next, it'll be Justin. We were just talking to Laura, and then I went back to change my clothes because with us now via Skype and on our gigantic cell phone is Justin. Hey, Justin, how are you?
Hi, Donna. Doing well. Thank you.
Great. So, Laura is the president of this wonderful organization. What made you decide to become a member of that?
Well, the organization is the National Association of Exclusive Buyer Agents, and back in 2008, when I'd been a real estate agent for a couple years. I was looking to start my own company and do something different. I kind of thought I started this new idea in San Diego, where I live, which is representing buyers only. And it was only after starting my company and a few months in that I discovered online the National Association of Exclusive Buyer Agents and this term exclusive buyer agent. And so I've been a member of the association ever since. And obviously, I didn't invent the idea, it's been around since the 80s. Um, but the reason I chose to do it is because I really liked working with buyers as a new agent. 16, 17 years ago, I was found that I gravitated towards working with buyers instead of sellers.
What do you find most gratifying about that? What is it that makes that special relationship between you and the person that you're helping?
It's really an exciting time in people's lives when they're buying a home. It's always a fun time. They may be buying a vacation home, which is obviously super fun, but a lot of times they're buying their very first home or a home where their family's growing and they need a bigger place. So it's never a sad time. It's always a fun time, and I think it's exciting to help people through that process and help them make smart choices along the way so that they're really happy with that home even years after the fact.
I don't understand the term because I don't buy a house or sell a house every single day. But can you help me understand what the dual agent means? Why is that an issue and why is going this way a little bit better?
Sure. So I always explain to people when they're first considering hiring me that every basically real estate agents are really different than the typical salesperson in the sense that in most states and in California, I know for sure they're legally obligated to look out for the best interest of their client. So that's called fiduciary duty, where the real estate agent, is obligated to look out for their client's best interest. They're obligated to put their interest above anybody else's, including, for example, the seller, which might have competing interests to a home buyer. They're also obligated to put the buyer's interest above their own. So you wouldn't get that same level of fiduciary duty maybe buying a car from a car salesperson, but you do expect that from your attorney. They're supposed to look out for your interests. And same thing with the real estate agent. So it gets complicated for real estate agents to put their client's interests above anybody else's if they're representing the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. The sellers and buyers have competing interests in many cases. And so every state, every country handles the issue of dual agency differently. So dual agent is when a agent represents the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. So in California, for example, it's legal to be a dual agent, but you have to disclose it to both parties before they sign the purchase contract. And essentially, what the buyer and the seller are agreeing to, if they agree to work with a dual agent, is that their agent's not going to be obligated to look out for their best interests anymore. They can't. So they kind of just have to become a facilitator of the transaction, help them kind of get the paperwork signed, but they can't give them guidance on how to negotiate or how to handle a counteroffer, how to handle repairs or problems that come up. If they give the buyer advice, they might be hurting the seller. And so it's weird to be a dual agent. And I'd say some agents seek it out. Some agents want to be a dual agent, or what some states call a designated agent, kind of a similar concept. I would say you want to avoid agents that are seeking it out because they're usually just doing it because they want to make more money. Most agents are trying to avoid dual agency, is in my experience. And the reason I became an exclusive buyer agent, only working with buyers, is that we're never going to run across a seller that my company represents because my company doesn't represent sellers. So it helps the consumer just avoid dual agency completely if they hire someone that's a single agent or an exclusive buyer agent.
Lovely. And so since you now have this special designation, you and Laura, are you guys going to like have like a conference that where everybody's going to convene and come together?
Yeah, well, actually, the NABA is the National Association of Exclusive Buyer Agents. The website for consumers is naeba.org, naeba.org. We have conferences every year, but it's really just for exclusive buyer agents to attend the conferences. We get together in different cities across the country. There's a lot of EBAs, we call it for short, Exclusive Buyer Agent EBA, all around the country, and a lot have been doing it for a lot longer than I have. And so it's fun to get together, share ideas, and we do it. We do it annually.
Well, I think that that's wonderful. And I know that your website has a lot of information. Laura was explaining that to me that this website is very comprehensive, if you will. So no matter where you are in the game of real estate, it makes sense to maybe go and take a look, correct?
I agree. Yeah, there's a lot of good videos on there, a lot of great content, especially people thinking about buying a home. They'll find it very helpful.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us, both to you and to Laura. Wishing you continued success on your journey and happy turning the keys, making dreams come true for those buyers. So thank you very, very much.